Hello and welcome to our channel. Today we're going to delve into the life and legacy of one of the most influential figures in world history, Genghis Khan. Some 800 years ago, a fearsome, charismatic warrior named Temujin united the nomadic tribes of Mongolia. In 1206, he assumed the title Genghis Khan, often translated as Emperor of Emperors, and started invading surrounding territories. Genghis Khan eventually controlled a massive empire ranging from today's Afghanistan to China, massacring many of the people he conquered in order to leave no enemies and strike fear in would-be foes. His male descendants continued the dynasty for many generations. It appears that Genghis Khan left a mark on more than history. His influence may persist in the DNA of men today. According to an international team of geneticists, about 1 in 12 men in Asia, and therefore 1 in 200 men worldwide, carry a form of the Y chromosome that originated in Mongolia nearly 1,000 years ago. Today's unusual prevalence of this chromosomal variant is most likely the result of Genghis Khan's military success, the investigators say. Even more provocatively, the researchers suggest that Genghis Khan himself had this particular version of the Y. That translates to 0.5% of the male population in the world, or roughly 16 million descendants living today. Genghis Khan was born in central Mongolia around 1161 into the Borjigin tribe and was given the birth name Temujin. His father was the tribe chieftain, and after being poisoned by a rival Tatar tribe, Temujin took over the leadership of the clan at the age of 9 but was ostracized due to the tribe not recognizing his claim to leadership. At the age of 16, Temujin married his wife Borte of the Conqueror tribe, with whom he had 4 sons. Although, in accordance to Mongolian customs, he had numerous other wives and children, but Borte and his sons were his primary family. Temujin was captured and enslaved at the age of 20 by a former ally tribe, the Taichiuts. He eventually escaped and joined his brothers and other clansmen to form a fighting unit, eventually amassing an army of more than 20,000 men due to his ability to form strategic alliances with other clans. Going against custom, Temujin put competent allies rather than relatives in key positions, and executed the leaders of enemy tribes while incorporating the remaining members into his clan. He ordered that all looting wait until after a complete victory had been won, and he organized his warriors into units of 10 without regard to kin. Though Temujin was an animist, his followers included Christians, Muslims, and Buddhists. By 1205, he had defeated all opponents, including his former best friend Jamuka. The following year, he called a meeting of representatives from every part of the territory and established a nation similar in size to modern Mongolia. He was also proclaimed Genghis Khan, which roughly translates to universal ruler, a name that became known in the West as Genghis Khan. Having united the steppe tribes, Genghis Khan ruled over some 1 million people. In order to suppress the traditional causes of tribal warfare, he abolished inherited aristocratic titles. He also forbade the selling and kidnapping of women, banned the enslavement of any Mongol, and made livestock theft punishable by death. Moreover, Genghis Khan ordered the adoption of a writing system, conducted a regular census, granted diplomatic immunity to foreign ambassadors, and allowed freedom of religion well before that idea caught on elsewhere. Genghis Khan's first campaign outside of Mongolia took place against the Xia kingdom of northwestern China. After a series of raids, the Mongols launched a major initiative in 1209 that brought them to the doorstep of Yinchuan, the Xia capital. Unlike other armies, the Mongols traveled with no supply train other than a large reserve of horses. The army consisted almost entirely of cavalrymen, who were expert riders and deadly with a bow and arrows. At Yinchuan, the Mongols deployed a false withdrawal, one of their signature tactics, and then initiated a siege. Though their attempt to flood the city failed, the Xia ruler submitted and presented tribute. The Mongols next attacked the Jin dynasty of northern China, whose ruler had made the mistake of demanding Genghis Khan's submission. From 1211 to 1214, the outnumbered Mongols ravaged the countryside and sent refugees pouring into the cities. Food shortages became a problem, and the Jin army ended up killing tens of thousands of its own peasants. In 1214, the Mongols besieged the capital of Zhongdu, now Beijing, and the Jin ruler agreed to hand over large amounts of silk, silver, gold, and horses. When the Jin ruler subsequently moved his court south to the city of Kaifeng, Genghis Khan took this as a breach of their agreement, and with the help of Jin deserters, sacked Zhongdu to the ground. In 1219, Genghis Khan went to war against the Khwarezm Empire in present-day Turkmenistan, Uzbekistan, Afghanistan, and Iran. The Sultan there had agreed to a trade treaty, but when the first caravan arrived, its goods were stolen and its merchants were killed. The Sultan then murdered some of Genghis Khan's ambassadors. Despite once again being outnumbered, the Mongol horde swept through one Khwarezm city after another, including Bukhara, Samarkand, and Urgence. Skilled workers such as carpenters and jewelers were usually saved, while aristocrats and resisting soldiers were killed. Unskilled workers, meanwhile, were often used as human shields during the next assault. No one knows with any certainty how many people died during Genghis Khan's wars, in part because the Mongols propagated their vicious image as a way of spreading terror. Genghis Khan died on August 18, 1207, of an unknown illness, perhaps initially caused by falling from his horse while hunting a few months earlier. At the time, he was back in northwest China besieging the Xia state's capital, Zhongxing, and the news of the great leader's death was kept from the Mongol army until the city had capitulated and its inhabitants had been slaughtered. His body was then transported back to Mongolia for burial, but the location of his tomb was kept a secret, a decision that has caused much speculation ever since. Medieval sources mention the tomb was in the vicinity of the sacred mountain Burkhan Khuldun, and that his son Ogadei sacrificed 40 slave girls and 40 horses to accompany his father into the next life. Genghis knew that his successors would dispute control of the Mongol Empire after his death, so he had already made provisions. The empire was to be divided amongst his sons, Yochi, Chagatai, Tolui, and Ogadei, with each ruling a khanate, although Yochi would predecease his father in 1227, and Ogadai, the third son, becoming the new Great Khan in 1229, a position he would maintain until his death in 1241. The next big step forward came during the reign of Kublai Khan, r. 1260-1294, the grandson of Genghis Khan, who conquered most of what remained of China from 1275 and so caused the collapse of the Song dynasty in 1279. Kublai proclaimed himself emperor of the new Yuan dynasty in China. Over the next 2 decades, China would become entirely dominated by the Mongols. The Mongol Empire would then go on to more campaigns, including in the Middle East, Korea, and Japan, with varying success, but ultimately creating one of the largest empires ever seen. Genghis Khan has left a much longer shadow than his empire, as he has come to be seen as nothing less than a godlike figure in the region and a father of the Mongolian people. Worshipped in the medieval period, his veneration has been revived in modern times, and today he continues to be honored with special ceremonies in the modern Mongolian capital of Ulaanbaatar. In brief, Genghis Khan was a complex figure whose influence continues to be felt today. He was a visionary leader who transformed Mongolia from a collection of tribes into a powerful empire and left a lasting impact on world history. Thank you for watching, and be sure to tune in for our next video.